What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some rookie minicamp route running footage of Jordan Addison, the Vikings first-round pick. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver or a quarterback and would like to train with us this offseason, we are coming out to 5 more states this year for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. Next up on our camp tour, we are going to be coming out to Austin, Seattle, and Newark, New Jersey. All 3 of those camps are completely sold out. But however, we will be coming out to Denver, Colorado, and Los Angeles, California to finish off the year. So check out that very first link in the description below if you are local to Denver or LA. Both of those camps will sell out this month, so I hope we can see you there. Again, very first link in that description below. Let's get started with this video. So we're going to be looking at some different route running clips here from Jordan Addison. First look of him with the Vikings, and I think he is probably the best, if not the best, one of the best route runners in the class, obviously next to Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, right? So this first drill that he's going to be working here is a drill that's working on his hip drop, him getting low at the top of the break and staying low at the top of the break. So the mechanics behind this is pretty much working on his ability to stop, right? A lot of times the wide receiver position is so much about speed, so much about going fast, burning guys over the top, but not enough is spent or not enough time is spent, I feel, with younger wide receivers on how to stop properly. So this kind of like red post, I'm sure everybody who's played wide receiver has seen something like this. Now, this is obviously to get him to drop low at the break point, because if you're not low enough, you're going to hit your head on the top of the bar, obviously, right? Now, the mistake that a lot of wide receivers will make on this drill is that they get to an improper position when they cut. And Addison does not get to that spot. And this showcases his attention to detail with his route. So, like, if you're running a route, every single time, regardless if it's a 5-yard hitch, 15-yard comeback, you're trying to make the DB think that you're doing one thing, and that's selling vertical, right? So when you're selling vertical, you have to run with some speed, you have to run in full stride, and you have to maintain a good pad level leading into the break like Addison has. He's not raising up with his chest. He's not taking all these choppy strides. He is attacking the depth of the route. So what you have to do at the break point is you have to trust your hips to stop, aka being able to snap down. So what do I mean by snap down? I don't mean beat the drum at the top of the break. So many wide receivers have taught that, or wide receiver coaches, I should say, have taught that for years. Like, hey, you get to the break point, you want to chop your feet, chop your hands, and beat the drum and have this slow sink of your hips. I don't want a sink of your hips. I want a violent drop of your hips. Like, almost like somebody has got a string attached to your chin and they are pulling the string straight down to your knee, because that violent level change that you see him have right here, that change in his pad level, that level change, if you will, is what's going to help you stop while running full speed and while actually selling vertical. So that's the position that we have to get to. Now, you see when he strikes the ground, I want you to pay attention to his foot strike. When he strikes the ground, he is not striking the ground in his heel. That means that he is not reaching outside of his frame. What so many wide receivers are scared of on cuts like this, where they're running like a comeback or they're running a curl, is that when they break on a dime with some speed, they're like, oh, well, I might hurt myself. Not if you keep your feet inside your frame and you have the correct foot strike. So you see when he strikes the ground, the ball of the foot is hitting first. His whole foot is in the ground. Don't get me wrong. A lot of wide receivers will misinterpret that and think that you want to always be on your tippy toes. You don't, because when you're running with some speed and you're trying to cut fast-paced violently on your tippy toes, you're going to drift forward. You want your whole foot in the ground, but you want the weight to be distributed on the ball of the foot. That's my power position. So if you can drop low and drop violently in that position, you're in a good spot. You're in an explosive spot. Now, the mistake that wide receivers will make is they'll drop their hips down, like almost like you're sitting into a chair, but when they break, their chest is straight up in the air. That's not that string pull that I'm talking about, because at the end of the day, we want to have balance at the break point. We want to be able to stop myself, but I want to have balance, and I want to be in an explosive position to drive out of the cut. Hence why this red pull is there. It's forcing you to have to stay low. But a lot of guys, they'll get low and their chest will stay up, their chin will stay up. You literally almost want to bring your chin to your knee. Or think of it like this. You want to bring your chin to your quad, because this is a position of balance. This is a position of explosion where you could actually create some energy and drive out of the break. We talk a lot about slowing ourselves down. Trust the hips. The hip drop is going to help you change direction and slow down. But also the hip drop puts you in an explosive position to where you don't lose any energy out of the break. A lot of guys can drop. A lot of guys can slow themselves down, but their foot strike will put them in a position where they'll lose energy. Their chest being up in the air will make them lose energy. But if you're on the ball of your foot, you're violent with your hips, and your chin is going to your knee, that's an explosive spot to drive out of the break and finish with some speed. So I'm going to play this again, full speed one more time. This is a great example of great hip drop mechanics, cut mechanics from Addison that will get him in and out of any break. So this next example here, he is going to be working on his like whip route, if you will. So there's another drill from him. And I want you guys to pay attention to the attention to detail he has in terms of his foot placement. Because like the wide receiver position, you guys, you got to think about, like, if you're a young wide receiver watching this, like, let's say you're a youth wide receiver, high school wide receiver, you have to understand that there are so many wide receivers out there that are probably just as big as you, just as fast as you, can catch the ball every single time it's thrown to you. What can you do to stand out? And usually, like nowadays, and it's starting to change, I feel, in the like receiver world culture, if you will, that guys who can run good routes and separate, it's starting to be a more popular thing. It's starting to turn more heads. Before, it was just a speed thing. Like, if you're bigger and faster than everybody else, you're getting looked at. But if you can separate and you can win one-on-one opportunities, that turns a lot of heads, gets a lot of eyeballs, right? So your attention to detail is what makes your routes so clean. So let's look at this specific drill here. They're doing like a whip route drill where they're working on a two-step break where he like hooks, he like pivots his foot, then hooks his foot around. This is the exact break you would make. Like, let's say you're at a whip route, you're running, you snap on the inside foot on a whip route, and you would hook this outside foot back around to drive you back out towards the sideline. Like, let's say, for example, he's running a slant, and then right here is where he breaks. He snaps on the inside foot and hooks this foot around to drive him back out on a whip. Now, the reason why they're working this drill is obviously just to eliminate wasted time at the break point. And how you eliminate wasted time is by trying to eliminate wasted steps the best you can. So you see, the first step of this is the step that's going to get him low. He's dropping, he's inside his frame, he's changing his pad level. Because again, on whip routes, on comebacks, on hitches, on curls, you guys have to get low to stop yourself. But again, it's not a slow sink of your hips because that wastes time. It's a violent drop of your hips. It's a violent level change of your hips. So that gets him low on this first step. Now, again, it's not just about getting low, because a lot of wide receivers can do that. But then their second step, their toes are pointed here. Then they take a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth step, and then they're out of the break, which is way too many steps. That's why I hate the beat the drum method. So you see with Addison here, he drops on the inside foot. He snaps his hips. He's getting low. And because he's low, that allows him to hook his outside foot around. You almost want to think of it like if this is the line of scrimmage, you were trying to get your hips and shoulders and toes facing that line of scrimmage. Because what that will do, especially if you were in a low explosive spot, is that will put your shin angle in a positive spot where you are able to drive off of this cut leg and get out of the break in little to no wasted steps. So you have to get low though. There's a lot of wide receivers, what they'll do is they'll try to run a whip route. You know, maybe they're doing like a T route where they break out then in. They're doing a whip route or a pivot route, whatever your terminology is for it. But they try to do this type of two-step break and they don't get low. They're standing up tall and they're trying to hook this leg around. When you do that, that puts an incredible amount of pressure on your knee, on your ankle, on your Achilles. You guys have to get low and you have to hook around and stay low. Stay in that chin to quad or chin to knee position where you're sitting your butt down in a chair. That exact same hip drop that we looked at on the very first example. Again, fellas, the routes will differ, but the breaks and the techniques on the breaks will always stay the same. So this is a textbook whip route drill here from Addison. I just wanted to showcase you this because those little details, those matter. There's no such thing as a little thing. All of those little things stack up and will add up to the big picture with your routes. So let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great job flipping his hips in and out of this break and working a game realistic drill, I might add to you. So now this last clip I want to showcase here just because I want to talk about some of the drill work that wide receivers choose to do. So this is the highest level of football, right? This is NFL. First-round draft pick, Minnesota Vikings. Obviously got a great history of a great receiver room. You got Adam Thielen, you got Justin Jefferson, you got Osborne this year, and now you got Addison, right? So, again, how do these guys train? You know, you don't see so many you see a lot of wide receiver coaches putting their guys through, you know, the different obstacle course drills, you know, the ladders, you know, doing a million different cuts on a million different things. That's not how you play the wide receiver position. The wide receiver position, you work game realistic drills that are simple, that are repeatable, and that can translate to an actual route on the field. So let's watch what Addison's doing here. They're going through just positional drills. He works a release, dips the shoulder, slips underneath the break point, and comes out of this route. Guys, that's how you get better. Like, I'm sure everybody's heard that Davante Adams interview where they asked him, and he said, like, advice to younger kids who are playing receiver is like, hey, run routes. Don't do drills. You get better by running routes. Now, he came out and clarified it later and said that if you want, drills aren't aren't a bad thing. You want to do game realistic drills. He's talking about the unrealistic drills. So you look at some of the top receiver work in all of football, Minnesota Vikings training camp. Look what they have him doing. They have him working a release. They have him working a shoulder dip technique. They have him working at the top of the route. Not complicated stuff. He's not coming out of this break, coming over here, zigzagging through cones, doing another cut, then getting out of the break. He's keeping it simple. As fellas, you don't get better at a specific skill by doing a million different cuts that aren't similar at all on one specific drill. You get better by doing the same thing over and over and over again. So him working that shoulder dip technique, he needs to rep that out and keep it simple when you rep it out. It might be boring. It's not flashy, but at the end of the day, that is what works. So I tell you guys this so you understand that you need to keep your workout simple if you're a young wide receiver. Do not be doing the obstacle course, 13 ladders on the field, doing all that stuff. And some people will say, oh, well, it's cardio. That's not cardio. We're football players, guys. We are very fast twitch individuals. So like, let's talk about this. This is why I think the whole obstacle course drill setup is bullshit in the first place. Because think about this. As a football player, every single snap, you're a wide receiver. Let's say it's the first snap of the game and you got to run a fade. Are you going to jog that fade? Are you going to try to conserve any energy? No, you're going to freaking go. You're going to give off the release. You're going to be explosive. You're going to get up into the route and run full speed. And then what's going to happen? You're going to get probably 20 seconds, if your offense is fast, from the end of that play to the start of the next to get yourself together. And then what do you have to do on that next play if you're running like let's say you're blocking on the next play? You're going to have to be explosive and you're going to have to exert all-out effort. So when you're doing these obstacle course drills, you're training muscle fibers that your body doesn't even use in a football setting. Doing something like this, working a quick burst release, then into a quick route, and then getting some time in between, then going again and giving all-out effort, that's how we get in better football shape. Football shape is not cardio. Like a soccer player, they should probably be doing obstacle course drills because soccer players are constantly running, jogging, conserving energy, trying to last over time. Football players, we're explosive. We get downtime in between each rep so we can be as explosive as possible, and that's how you need to train. You shouldn't be doing those unrealistic obstacle course drills. Keep it simple, 1 to 2 cuts, maybe 3 to 4 cuts depending on the drill, but focus on your explosion. That's how we get better, and it actually translates to a game situation. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like to train with us when we are in Denver or Los Angeles this year, check out that very first link in the description below. Our Austin, Seattle, and Newark, New Jersey camp are all sold out, but we hope we can see you in Denver or LA. So again, very first link in that description below. I'll see you guys next time.